RogueCon 23. That's right. It is here. It's not back. It's here. It's the first one. Join the ultimate celebration of digital content with its creators, passionate fans, and industry experts. It is all happening in downtown Waco across multiple venues, January 20th through the 22nd of 2023. Now, if you want to go, you got to get tickets, and tickets are on sale at RogueCon23.com. That's RogueCon, RogueCon 23.com. Be there. I'm going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. Let's go.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
And I'm Caroline. And this is your Bloody Happy Hour.
Caroline, are you ready for this?
This is your newest guilty pleasure.
It's the bloodiest part of your week.
Did we say something about it also being happy hour?
Show did.
Because we about to be sipping on some murder. Bloody Happy Hour.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
Hey, it's Caroline.
And this is Thursday Bloody Happy Hour.
We are here and, you ready for it?
We're ready.
We first want to say that y'all are awesome, amazing listeners. We're getting some great messages from people. We're getting feedback and comments, and we love it. And we want to encourage you to go out and tell a friend or 5 friends and go and like and subscribe and tell other people to do the same thing and leave us some reviews. I don't think we've had any reviews lately.
Yes.
So I'm feeling real depressed about it.
Yeah, actually very, very lonely.
Yeah,
I feel lonely.
Yeah, it's actually this lonely feeling. It's like a hole in my heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes our day when we can read a review from you guys. But we did get a great message. I should read that.
Yeah, you should read it.
I'm just going to give you a first name. So it says, "Hello, y'all. I just wanted to reach out regarding the Lake Waco murders. And this just came last week, so they listened a little late. Jill, one of the victims, if you guys remember, was my first cousin, and my mom is the aunt that I mentioned in episode 2, part 2. So she is now 84 years old, and she worked tirelessly for several years to try and get the truth of what happened on that horrible night. Unfortunately, I feel as though she and her sister, which was Jill's mom, will pass away without knowing what happened. I don't know if she would be interested in talking to y'all, but if you're interested, I can ask her. She knows so much about this crazy twists and turns of the case. Her sister could not bear to hear the details of the murders, so my mama did it for her, which is how she got so involved. My mom never believed the murder for hire, mistaken identity crap."
Oh?
Yes. Jill's birthday was this past Saturday. She would have been 57 years old. I've listened pretty much to all of the podcasts done on our case, and you girls have been hands down the best. Great job.
Oh my gosh.
Most just go by the book, and that's it. Thank you for digging more. Again, let me know if you would like to talk to my mom. So we just kind of reached out to her, and I thanked her for messaging. So thank you so much, Jenny. And it kind of opened my eyes a little bit. I wonder how many other victim families tune in to the documentaries and the podcasts done on their family members. Never even thought about it.
I haven't either. I would feel like people who are maybe, if they're unsolved cases, they'll tune in more. I don't know why, but I guess just to see accurate. I don't know.
Yeah, accuracy. I would tune in on all of them just to see accuracy, period. But I also listen to podcasts anyways.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share that with you guys. Also, I wanted to tell you guys that we are actively looking for sponsorships for our Bloody Happy Hour podcast. So if you are interested in us either reading a live read or sending us a commercial to insert in, you can email us at bloodyhappyhour@gmail.com. Also, you can email us at bloodyhappyhour@gmail.com if you want to contribute to our Happy Hour Fund. And like Caroline said, if you want to help in any other ways, you can rate us, review us, and subscribe us. subscribe to us.
Yes.
That helps out so much. They can listen to us live as we're recording. So like right now we're recording the Thursday before you listen. So if you're ever just bored, you can go on a Thursday at like 5 o'clock-ish, right? It's happy hour time.
So they have to do it though on the Thursday at 5 because it's just live and then it goes away, right?
Oh, I don't know. They go to roguemedianetwork.com. Right? Yeah, roguemedianetwork.com, and you can watch us as we record. So you're actually being scooped of the following week's episode.
And you're not getting any edits.
No edits. So you may love that or you may hate that. I don't know.
Like, I could change my shirt again.
Yeah.
Then it would really be a porn podcast.
Then it would be a porn podcast.
It would be living up to our name. Or something.
So, 5 o'clock on Thursdays, if you want to.
I mean,
I would.
But then again, I'm sitting here watching, court TV.
Yeah. So she would watch it. As long as it's live, you're going to watch it.
For sure.
Live porn?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Actually, I've never watched live porn.
It's a little weird.
That would mean you'd have to, like, order or something, right?
Or be there.
Oh.
You would actually have to be there. I reckon. Or watching it.
Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine.
Okay, we have the story y'all have been waiting for.
Oh my gosh.
Since we started. I've been getting messages about this story since day one.
Day one.
What about you?
Maybe.
So.
Yeah.
A little bit here and there.
Probably. I don't remember.
She's like Dory off of Finding Nemo. She has a 7-second memory. Literally.
Oh,
if y'all don't know by now,
that's why I need that ginkgo biloba.
Yes.
Oh, but listen, this is why this case is so close to us.
Yeah.
Is because we were Camp Gladiator trainers.
Yes.
While Missy Bevers was a trainer when she got murdered.
Which is why we're wearing these shirts.
Yep, that is. I'm wearing my Total Transformation shirt in honor of Missy.
Very important part of this story, actually.
I have about
it revolves around Total
500 of these shirts.
Yeah.
I made a blanket out of one. I still have a lot left over.
They're the best.
10 years.
Yeah, they best. 10 years for you. It was 5 years for me. So it's definitely like a big chapter of our life, and especially during this time. So we're going to tell you the story the best we can. And then from a perspective of somebody who was actually like going through the motions that Missy was going through at the same time she was going through.
Yeah, as far as like, why do you
we were in Austin that same weekend.
Location and how do they know what to do? Like
a little bit of the logistics. A lot of the other podcasts, they just don't know, which is because I think at that time Camp Gladiator really wasn't everywhere. It's still not everywhere.
Plus, if you're researching a case, you just kind of are like, oh, she worked for this fitness company.
Yeah.
Which is what I would say.
Yeah.
Or what we would say, probably.
So let's get to it. So it's actually happened. This is Missy Bevers' 6-year death anniversary. So Monday, April 18th was 6 years. All right. And if you don't already know, this is an unsolved case. I'm saying it's a cold case, but
it's
Midlothian PD will not label it as a cold case yet.
Why?
I guess they're still actively working on it. And they haven't handed it off maybe to cold case.
Oh, it's a different department?
Different department.
There is a lot of things that they haven't released though.
Yeah.
Like, where's the 911 call? Why don't we get that?
Yeah. So there is a lot of holes, but probably like with any investigation, they can't release too much because it would give away too much information. And they need to keep some things a secret that only the killer would know, so that they know that they do have the killer when they do get it.
Do you say keep it close to the vest or close to the chest?
Say either or.
Okay.
Either or.
I didn't know which one was correct.
All right, so it's April 18th, 2018, and it's about 5 a.m. in the morning, and there was a 911 call. A frantic camper showed up to I found out now, early morning workout.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Early morning Camp Gladiator workout with Missy Bevers at Creekside Church of Christ in Midlothian, Texas. The trainer, Missy Bevers, posted on Facebook the night before that they will be training inside due to the rain. The camper saw Missy's truck parked outside just like normal, and when they entered the church, they found their trainer dead. But not just dead. She was bloody, she was bludgeoned, and clearly somebody had murdered her. What happened to Missy? Who could do this? What was the motive? And did they have to do this in a church? That's my own questions. Did they have to do this in a church?
Okay.
So, Caroline, we were literally at camp.
Were we when we found this out?
Like, I was packing up from camp. The messages are coming through on our little text change.
Yeah.
Missy is dead.
Now, did you know, were y'all friends? Did you know her? Because I know, even though they're Midlothian, at this point, CG's growing, where there's just a lot of new people. I don't know. We'd been there for however long, and I don't know how long she'd been there at that point, maybe a year.
I think she was, in her first year.
And you just don't really know everybody until maybe, later on at the end of the year party or whatever.
Well, and I had just done a breakout session that weekend in Austin at the Total Transformation we were at with a Missy, and I was like, oh my God, I just was with her. Wrong Missy. So I think Alyssa was telling us about all of this. Mm-hmm. So what happens? We're like, did she get robbed? We didn't know any details. So we're I'm packing up my shit from camp, putting it back in my car, and wondering what happened. Then you get home, and what do?
Probably turn on Nancy Grace.
Not yet. I'm looking up, Missy, what's the last name? Oh, Bevers Facebook page.
Yeah, I don't
know. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't know her.
Yeah, I didn't either. So I wasn't friends with her.
Yeah.
Then I was like, she was just at Total Transformation. I was just at that Austin Total Transformation. I said 18 because I just said 18. Okay. April 18th.
Good thing.
Sorry, rewind, fast forward.
Oh, April 18th, 2016.
Yes.
Because 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So 6 years, yeah.
Yeah. So
I remember when I heard, I was probably like, what? And then I immediately thought, based on how we do things, that it was targeted. I just thought automatically, somebody had to know she was in there, because it was either somebody close to her, somebody who was a former camper who knew the process of how we did things, because how we did things. Am I jumping ahead?
No. I'm wanting to know what your initial thoughts were. We're rash when we start hearing and thinking these things. So what were your rash thoughts?
Somebody had to know that she was in there, because whenever we know when we're going to go inside. So how it works with camp is we have our workout at an outdoor location. Yes. So if I'm at a church parking lot and I have to get permission to use the inside of the building, to be able to have my workout in there in case it's raining as an alternate location.
Yes.
So I know, okay, let me look at the forecast tomorrow. It's going to be raining. I'm going to go ahead and let my campers know, whether I send a message on Facebook, post on Facebook, then I send a message privately to all of them, whatever, to let them know, hey, we're going to be meeting inside the church today at our alternate location. Every location has an alternate location that is already set up ahead of time.
Because CG doesn't cancel. We're outdoor. We don't cancel. We go inside if it's raining or sleeting or snowing.
So
that was her indoor
the people
location.
Knew, her current campers knew that's where you go. Mm-hmm. And they obviously had a system of how they did it. Some people either some trainers have a key. Some people have a system where you just have a code or something. I don't know, or whatever. You go in, you get there typically 30 minutes early, you set up, whatever. So the whole thing was somebody had to know she was going to be there in order to be hiding in the church before she got there.
Yeah. Well, and we didn't even know that much yet. So like right when we were getting those texts, I was like, oh, did she get robbed? What area? Was there a meth addict? Like, ooh. A lot of us carried something. I didn't carry anything then, but a lot of our trainers at our conferences, they would say, pack your gun, get you some mace, get you something.
I just brought myself.
So I thought it was random in the beginning. Then things happen, right?
Yeah.
So Caroline initially thought it was targeted. I initially thought it was random because I didn't know anything at all yet. So let me tell you more about Missy Bevers. She was born August 9th in 1970 in a place called Graham, Texas. Her maiden and last name was actually Strickland. She was described as religious and caring. She finished college and she met her husband, Brandon Bevers, and when she was 28 years old. And they got married. She began working as a teacher's aide in special education. She did this for several years, and they had their first daughter, Hannah. And that's when they decided she was going to be a stay-at-home mom. So she stopped being a teacher's aide. So they had 3 kids total, Allie, Hannah, and Sarah. Or was it Hannah, Allie? I don't remember the order. She sold Thrive on the side, and she participated in a lot of endurance events like half marathons, Spartan races, 5Ks. She was a very healthy, happy, outgoing person. And she seemed like she was living the American dream life, like on Facebook, right?
Yeah. I mean, if it's on Facebook, it's
always true.
Instagram, yeah.
And then somebody from Camp Gladiator recruited her. We did a lot of recruiting in Camp Gladiator because we wanted Camp Gladiator to grow. And the more locations you have, the better. More opportunity to change lives through fitness, right?
Right.
So she was recruited and she started her own Camp Gladiator workouts. And it's outdoor group fitness. So that can be anything. We brought our own equipment, or the trainers brought the equipment, or the campers would show up with a mat and a set of dumbbells, and it could be anything, any type of workout. And we would call ourselves independent contractors.
Yes, at that time.
So this happened on a Monday. What was Missy doing that weekend in Austin? It was called Total Transformation. That's what shirt Caroline has on. So kind of explain that.
So Total Transformation is where a bunch of the trainers from all over, a bunch of different cities will go to a specific city and just kind of like, it's a week-long thing, and you'll go for like 3 days in a row, 4 days in a row, and you just basically, any events there are, if there's races, if there's HEBs, if there's...
We're selling
bridal shows. You're just going to sell a package. You're selling camp. You're selling camp. You're selling 4 weeks of fitness. You're selling a weight loss program. You're selling a T-shirt. You're for a lower price than normal, and you just kind of like basically bombard that city.
Yeah.
For that week, in order to help those trainers in that area grow. And every area had their own total transformations, and this was Austin's turn. So trainers from all over Camp Gladiator Nation would go to these areas to go help those trainers grow their camps. And like, you don't sleep. Like, you get up early, you go to 5 a.m. workouts, and then you start hitting different events, and then those events last through the night. Then you pretty much party through the night, and you get up and you start it again, right? It's just... Yeah, you set up a table like, you see the Girl Scouts having tables
cold
set
cells.
up.
Cold cells. Yeah. Cold cells is basically what it is. So that's where Missy was. That's where I was. We were in the 2 different areas. We did have some local Waco trainers that were working with her, boots on the ground, that weekend. So she got home that Sunday evening, April 17th. And as a CG trainer, your Sunday was prep day. You were writing your workouts for the following week. You were making sure if you cleaned out your equipment from your car, you're putting all your equipment back in.
You're doing your camper, any new campers, you're contacting them.
Yes, camper connection. So make sure you're at camp, and any posts that you need them all to know, you're putting that on Facebook. And yes, 90% of us, our Facebooks were public.
Yeah.
I think mine's probably still is public. And you basically friended everybody that friended you because they were all potential.
So I have like over
clients.
like almost 5,000 friends on Facebook, and they're like no.
You don't even know who they are. Yeah.
Real popular.
So if we also our Sunday, well, your everyday routine, but we're also checking the weather, because if it's raining, we got to make sure we got everything in order, or we're changing up our workouts. Indoor workouts are different from outdoor workouts.
And if you're in the, like, if sometimes you do it, you just have a covered area, so you have a little awning to do it in under, so you just have to do a stationary, like in place workout.
So she made a post like most Camp Gladiators make, Camp Gladiator trainer. If it's raining, we're still training.
If it's raining, we're still training.
I don't know how many times we posted that.
Post that? Jeez.
So basically, everybody knows meet at inside the church instead of in the parking lots. And so I kind of told you, like, most of these locations were in parking lots, churches. I was at a school. You were at a school.
I was at school.
Churches, parks, just different parking lots, sometimes like big stores.
Yep.
It made us easy for us not to have pay any overhead for a gym.
Yeah, it did.
It was actually great.
Yeah.
So she didn't actually live in Midlothian. She lived in Red Oak, Texas, which is close, but she still had a drive. So instead of like I lived 5 minutes from my location, I got up and can get there quickly. She had a little bit more of a drive. So she would get up at the 3 o'clock-ish mark, like later, like before 4 a.m.
And did you say this already? Sometimes we would get there earlier.
Oh, we had to.
Well, so the rule of thumb was you arrive 30 minutes before the workout starts, at least 30 minutes. So you have time to set up, because some people get there early. Yeah. So, but then, once you've been doing it for a while, you do have some that are like, oh, I need to come a little earlier, and I'm going to start early, and they're like your early birds or whatever. Yeah, yeah. So then you get there even a little earlier.
Even earlier than that.
To kind of give them a little something to do while you're finishing setting up, and they're starting their kind of a pre-workout.
Because they usually have to leave early.
Yeah. Yeah. But they love you, so they want to go to you instead of go to a different trainer. They don't like no other trainer.
So at 9:23 p.m., she had one more post, and it said, off to bed, got to get up at 3:30 a.m., and this would be her last Facebook post. So let's go into the timeline of stuff that we know. So what do we know that happens on April 18th, Carolyn?
Okay, April 18th at 2 a.m., surveillance footage captures a silver Nissan car pulling into a parking lot of the SWFA outdoor store. So this is about half a mile away from the church. Now, why is this important? Well, let me tell you. This car drives into the parking lot, and there's surveillance camera of this, so we could put it up and we'll show you. Yeah. So this car turns into the parking lot, and then they like turn their headlights off and they turn it back on. And then they slowly just continue. So this parking lot had about, I think they said like 7 cameras. Yeah, all around. And they were they were clear and everything. So they continue to drive around the parking lot, and they're going super slow, almost stopping. And then can you see the brake lights? And then they speed up again, and then they slow down again, and then they turn the headlights on and off twice, like in a row, like on, off, like
signaling.
Some kind of signal. I don't know. Then the car continues to go around. I think it goes around the building twice. Then it goes to the back to where the entrance was, but then it drives into a parking spot, and it parks, turns the lights off, stays parked for several minutes, then turns the lights back on and starts to leave the parking lot. Okay.
Wow.
Now, this is important because so this happened at 2 a.m. And now within 2 hours, someone breaks into the church, Creekside Church.
So now it's about 3:50, right? And we're
Yes.
back at the church.
We're back at the church, 3:50, and surveillance footage captures an unknown person walking inside the hall, inside the church in a hallway. So this is what happens. They believe that the suspect broke in through the kitchen door. This was at the back of the church. And they think that because one of the glass windows is busted out, and they're thinking that they reached in, unlocked the door from the inside. So they're like, they likely busted out the glass, and that's how they got in. And they continue to go through the kitchen, and they go to the adjoining room, which is they go through that adjoining room, and they leave that room, and they continue into the hallway, and that's when they're first seen on camera.
Yeah.
So you don't know how long. You don't have an exact time of when they're entering the church because there was no outside cameras.
They weren't working at the time.
Yes, allegedly.
Allegedly.
They weren't working at the time. So, also, there were some windows that were busted in this kitchen that come from the outside. So they're pretty high up. But they were also broken. So the Midlothian police said that they had no reason to believe that the suspect had entered through those broken windows.
Okay.
So the question is, why were they broken? And this is just maybe. Some people say that maybe the person broke those windows somehow, maybe threw something at them, to see if there was an alarm system.
Yes.
Maybe this would have triggered a blaring or if there was a silent alarm. Okay. So then maybe that person who busted through those windows, left and came back, and that's why they were in that parking lot driving around.
Yeah.
The SWFA parking lot, and then that's why they sat there with their lights off, and maybe they were watching to see if it triggered any police to come. So they could have busted the windows, left, went to the SFWA,
watched for
police, then went back to the
when no police.
They could have even changed their clothes, put the SWAT stuff. I mean, I don't know. There's so many.
That's crazy because I never, this whole time, 6 years, never thought about that. I always thought they were breaking the windows to make it look like it was a break-in. So here's broken windows, here's glass, make it look like disguise it as a burglary. And I thought the person in the parking lot, I always thought it was linked. I thought that was maybe a second person, and that person came and picked them up when they left.
That's another option.
Yeah. So, but I like this. This is a whole nother way to think about it, is that it's the lone person, it's the one person, and that they were testing it out. One of the YouTubers I watched said that she has her own app that's a police scanner.
Oh, I have police scanner app.
So they could have broke the windows to see if it's triggering, went and listened, waited, and when nobody came, they were bet, safe, let me go on and put on my apparel. And then that's when they entered the church, right? A little bit before they knew Missy was coming, because they had been a camper. You have to, know the church. How did you know that if you broke that window and put your arm in there, that would open up the kitchen door? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you have to know the layout of the church. So you've been in there, or you're a member, probably. Church folks, real crazy. And then you had to have known what was going on with Missy, or been to a camp or something to know how early she gets there.
So back to the church. This person is dressed head to toe SWAT gear, and so I don't know. I don't know what it's called. I don't know if it's tactical gear. Basically, what they're wearing is black pants, a black jacket that says police on the back. They have tall black boots. They have a helmet with cover. They're basically, none of their skin is exposed. So there's no DNA, there's no fingerprints, nothing. They're just all black on black on black on black. And they're just walking around like they're like they're at an open house.
Very lackadaisical.
They're just piddling.
Piddle,
like,
piddle, piddle.
Oh, let me just touch this thing. Let me touch this. Let me just rub my hand on the wall.
Let me open up this door.
Let me open up this door and leave it
close
open.
Let me
open up this Dutch door and leave it open. So they open a door. They look into a room. They walk away. They go to a next door. This door's locked. Now we see something on, like they try to open that locked door with this like crowbar or hammer or something they have in their hand. And it appears they're using this tool to open the door. Well, they can't get the door open. So then they're like, I'll just walk away. Like they tried to work on that door for like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And then they walk away and then they go to the next door, or they're walking down the hall. They come around the corner. Next door, this is the Dutch door. That's the door where it opens half on the top and half on the bottom.
Which traditionally is where they put the kids, right?
I guess.
So the kids don't run away, like where the children's church or the daycare or something is.
Yeah. So then they like open the bottom part of that Dutch door. They open the top part of it. They just kind of quickly step inside of that room, and then they step outside of the room. They leave them open, which is real dumb. I mean, whatever. Then they walk down the hall. They go off camera for a bit. This is all on the footage.
Yeah, all on footage. So if you can Google the video if you're live right now, or we're going to definitely, I mean, you could Google it. You'll find it. We'll definitely put it in the show notes and on our Facebook pages.
So they go off camera for a little bit, and they're seen walking back up the hall, returning like back towards where those Dutch doors are. And now they're across from those doors. At this point, they're seen with a flashlight's coming out of their helmet. So they're like flashlighting to this next door. They open that door, and then it cuts out. And the next time they're seen is they're kind of opening another door, and they're coming out of a door, going into the hallway. This is where they're seen like swinging something at the wall, whether they're hitting the wall or they're hitting glass. There's some debris that falls on the floor. You can see little tiny pieces of stuff that falls on the floor. And this is where you're like, the police have, well, we later find out like the police maybe are saying this is a robbery, but if it was a robbery, like why are they just strolling around and just like, they're not really like in a hurry.
There's no urgency.
There's no urgency.
They don't have a bag to put shit in if they're robbing or stealing. Yeah. They're like buying their time is what I think.
For sure. So then it's whenever, so this is all happening inside. Then the person, whoever, heads into the direction where Missy would be heading. So it's 4:16 when we are told that Missy's truck is seen on surveillance. We haven't ever seen that. It's not been released. Yeah. But this is according to police. So 4:16, she arrives. And then 4:20, she enters the church. Once again, we don't have this footage. This is just according to police. And then 4:35, the first camper arrives. But here's the deal with these campers. So she typically had 2 early bird people who would come. Now, one of them was like, I'm skipping. Yeah. Because it's raining.
It's
I get
Monday.
It. Some people are.
It happens.
So early bird number 1, she skipped. She's not coming to work out. Early bird number 2, she had a flat tire on the way to work out. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. This, you always say it's a God thing, and that's just a crazy circumstance. So the person who shows up first is your worst, like
the worst nightmare.
You don't ever want a newbie to show up first. You want to have like a veteran camper there to kind of like, help out a little bit. You always have that one camper who's always there. So this person, it's their very, very, very first time to come to a Camp Gladiator workout. I'm shocked they came in the rain, but they must have been really dedicated. They wanted to really like change their life. Yeah, yeah. So good job. But apparently at this church, you are at this location. They were to go up to the door. There was a button that they would push, and they push the button, and the door is unlocked, and that button triggers the door to open.
Yeah.
Or to unlock, and then they open the door. Well, this guy's new, so he didn't know that was the process.
Yeah, because it's not like you can't look at it and say, oh, this is probably the enter
Yeah,
button.
and like
It's a little discreet.
right.
And so only a veteran or somebody who goes to that church would know this is a way to get in. So
Right.
he couldn't get in.
So he kind of stayed in his car, right?
Yeah.
Or under the awning or something.
Under the awning, yeah.
Under the
It's
awning.
just multiple things. Some say he went back to his car, texted a veteran camper, and then some say he was under the awning to stay away from the rain and waited until
Okay.
the other campers arrived. Whichever.
Either way, he waited for somebody else to arrive in order for him to get into the church. And then I don't know if it was when that one person or there was 4 people.
Yeah. You hear both.
Yeah. So people arrived. They were like, okay, hey, this is how you get in. Let's go into the spot where they work out. And that's when they walked in and they found Missy dead on the floor. There was glass all around her body. There was blood everywhere. She was obviously dead. Like, it was awful. I can't imagine. I don't know. I don't know.
Yes.
Then that's when they called 911.
So I listened to an interview of Missy's sister-in-law where she was telling us, like, she was able to see Missy's video.
What?
They showed her, or the police told her, but I think she was able to see a portion of, like, when she walked in. So what do you do when you're a CG trainer? You go in your car and you're grabbing what before you walk in your location? One of 2 things.
I have my
'Cause you're
backpack and
setting
I have
up.
my cup. I'm not bringing my table.
Yeah. Well, and that's what she was grabbing.
She's
like,
grabbing
it's
her
first
table?
day of a brand new camp.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a full setup. So she's grabbing
you grab
her
your table, you grab your
and an iPad,
Yeah.
and she's going in. So
no,
she's
but her
walking
iPad
down.
was left in the truck.
Or her, maybe it's the radio.
Probably, yeah.
Probably the radio.
Which I had that in my backpack.
I just remember thinking white table. I remember them damn white tables.
But she had
carried the
she
hand.
grabbed her.
So she was carrying her white table in, fold up table.
Yeah.
And when she walked in, she stopped and she looked over, and they think that she saw what might have been some broken glass, a broken debris. And so the cops were asking the sister, would she have continued? Would she have ignored it? Would she have tried to been a hero? Like, what? And then she walks some more, and then she stops, like, hesitates, like she hears something. And then when she walks into that room, she never comes back out. So they don't know what made her keep going. And so when you talk about that uniform, right, could that person have worn that so that they can be trusted? Hey, there's been a break-in. Come in here. Police, SWAT.
I know, but if it's covered, I would think maybe they would have had to her.
I don't know.
If there was, that's what was there footage inside? I'm in my head.
Only
I picture,
in that main hallway.
I know, and in my head I picture, because I always use the gym.
They show her walk in, kind of slow, kind of something caught her attention. They think it was a glass.
Oh yeah, if
then she went into that room.
What would you have done, and what do you think? I
don't know. It's so early in the morning, and you're focused like, okay, I need to set up.
Okay, if I'm
bring
going
in
into
equipment.
Woodward Elementary, because I always use that one the most, because that was where I was at the most. The first door I go in, the gym's right there, so I don't have another option. But if I saw like a cafeteria window busted, I would have been like, oh my gosh.
Badass kids?
No, I would have been like, oh gosh, like. And but the cafeteria lady gets there just as early as I do, if not earlier.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You know me, I would have probably, well, I guess I'll just set up my table,
Yeah, I don't know that it would have registered.
Seen somebody in that thing, I would have been probably like freaked out if they were covered. Like if their face was covered, that would have like scared me or
Yeah.
startled me. I do catch a fright easily.
Catch frat.
I catch frights easily. But wonder if they expose their face to her.
Yeah, but if they're not really a cop, that should have scared her. Like, if it's exposed and it's like, oh, it's you, this bitch that don't like me, I would have thought she would have tried to take off, and maybe she did, and maybe there's a struggle. There's a bunch of broken glass from those end tables that were in there. We don't know. All it is we're just talking through this, but that Missy never walked back out of that room. We know that's where the struggle happened because it was off camera. It's broken glass.
Or at least we don't know it was on camera.
Or, yeah, we haven't seen the footage. Maybe it is on camera. Maybe we'll know one day. So, where are we at now?
Well, so now
That's basically when then at 501, the 911 call
Yep.
came in, and then one of the campers called husband?
Yep. One of them called. So Brandon Bevers is her husband. Was her? I don't know. And so one of the campers called to let him know what happened, and he was out of town, and she had to do that, and so he had to drive back into town to, deal with all that.
Yeah.
Then the police, the day of the murder, they came and they investigated, and at this point, it's like literally the same day. So this is like 5 a.m. So this is like, oh my gosh, the very end of the day, which is probably the longest day ever, especially for us, because we're just all like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my God. Like, we're freaking out. We're like, oh my, I guess we got to, anyways, we had this whole big thing of how we would go about getting to camp, and we wouldn't get out of our cars until we had another camper come there.
It changed just this right here changed how when we came to camp, how we opened up our indoor locations.
Mm-hmm.
I went and picked up mace and a taser. Now, I would always stay in my car, so if I needed it, I wouldn't have good access to it.
Yeah.
But we were real vigilant for a while. After that, my male campers would show up early and stay afterwards, like until I set
feel
up.
Like they were more worried about me than I was worried about me, for sure.
I would always
such
say,
great campers.
I was
them.
like, Missy was like, she fit the profile. I don't fit the profile. Blonde.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't fit the profile.
No.
But anyways, it did change how careful we were, and we had to be more safe, and it was just a lot, because it is literally dark 30, and
for sure,
we were in a parking lot by ourselves. The only people were up were people in trouble.
Just think
people
about it.
Work out and meth addicts.
Especially with like this parking lot, like you're in a pitch black. I mean, there's the lights maybe that are on in the lot, but there's nobody in this parking lot. You're like, it's pitch black outside, especially with this. She's off of like a highway road. Yeah. And I mean,
there's nowhere to run to if somebody is coming after you. I was in a neighborhood, at least. I could go run and knock on somebody's door.
In my areas, like I was at a bank for one of them, which that's a great place to be. And then, because there's cameras everywhere. Yeah. And then a school. So, I mean. Yeah. But, so the day of the murder, police are investigating, and this is when they suggest it could have been a burglary gone wrong. Which, when I think I first heard that, I was like, oh, no. Mm-hmm. Just because I knew how everything went, and I was like, somebody had to know. Yeah. I don't know who burglarizes a church. Anyway, I guess maybe if it's a Monday after a Sunday, I guess they have like collections, maybe, but I don't know. But nothing was ever found that was missing from the church. And yeah, there was damage inside. It was like broken glass and stuff, but it wasn't like a ton. Like they didn't break doors down and stuff. They just busted some glass. Yeah. Like it wasn't that vandalized either.
And then the church reports that nothing was actually missing.
Yeah, nothing was missing, and she still had her wedding ring on. Yeah. And that wasn't missing. Yeah. Or stolen. And her nothing iPad was stolen out of her truck. Yeah. So there's nothing stolen anywhere.
And now a word from our sponsors.
RogueCon 23. That's right. It is here. It's not back. It's here. It's the first one. Join the ultimate celebration of digital content with its creators, passionate fans, and industry experts. It is all happening in downtown Waco across multiple venues, January 20th through the 22nd of 2023. Now, if you want to go, you got to get tickets, and tickets are on sale at RogueCon23.com. That's RogueCon, RogueCon 23.com. Be there. I'm going to be there. Everybody's going to be there. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Hank. You might remember me from a show called King of the Hill. Check out a King of the Hill rewatch podcast. These boys ain't right, but they are funny. Find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemedianetwork.com. I tell you what.
So then when that, so now it's later in the day, that video has been released, or it's the next day. So now I know, like, hell no, this is not random. And who do you first think?
Well, obviously the husband.
Obviously the husband. So I go to Brandon's Facebook page.
I bet you.
And I remember screenshotting and sending it on a group chat, And, you know, we're usually right about this. And we don't know if we're right or not about this because this case is unsolved. But think of Chris Watts. His interviews, they were sketchy. He was guilty. Scott Peterson, interviews, sketchy, guilty. Drew Peterson, sketchy, guilty. Now, I was wrong with Heidi Broussard case out of Austin.
Oh, I don't even know that case. I don't.
Well, it was just out of Austin. It was the pregnant girl.
Yes.
Her husband interview was missing her. I was like, he seemed a lot more genuine, but I was still like, he's just a good actor. Well, he ended up having nothing to do with it, and it was a fake best friend that killed her and took her baby.
We got to talk about that one.
Yeah. So we're usually right about this, and it is usually the husband. So it just sucks that if it's not him, he's going to go through a lot of shit that we're going to tell you about.
Yeah, because, I mean, to be honest, whenever I first saw the interviews he was giving, I was like, well, he didn't seem very sad.
Yeah.
And yes, everybody goes through different emotions. I understand that. I've never been in this situation, so I can't say what I would do or what I wouldn't do.
So they start talking about, like, they start researching or investigating, right?
Yeah.
Dig deeper into Missy, into her life and everything. And what do they find?
Well, April, they found that they were having some marital issues.
Yeah.
And some financial
The two majorest, is that a word?
The biggest
things.
The most majorest things.
The two best good motives for murder.
The top two reasons that your marriage will fail.
Or you'll kill your spouse.
Or, listen, just don't have an affair and you won't be tempted to kill your spouse, or somebody won't be tempted to kill you.
So don't have affairs or multiple affairs, and money problems they were having. So with those two good new things and good motives, guess who the first suspect is?
Brandon.
OBB. It's funny because on all these Facebook pages, everybody's just doing initials. So it's OBB, Brandon Bevers.
Oh.
So
we want to let
you didn't know where I was going with that.
Well, I mean, I assumed, but I'm just, that's just who you go to first.
Yeah.
It just is.
And then he does an interview. I think you have this right here. And he says in this interview immediately, he doesn't believe it's a targeted interview.
Yes.
He thinks it's random. So my light bulb, it goes off a little bit brighter, right?
Yes.
This is in the beginning. We're kind of telling you as we're going through the story.
Yeah, this is still early on. So,
yeah.
And
then he tries to convince everybody that Missy Made a point to text him every day saying, I love you.
Yes. Yep.
And I hope you have a good day.
Yes.
And it's like, why is this the time to say this?
Yes. So it's almost
People.
like he's just like
Proven.
going overboard
Mhm.
as far as to be like, well, we were like, we loved each other. Everything was great. We were texting each other every day saying we loved each other.
Yeah. For the past 10 whole months.
Yeah.
So we'll come back to that. I think at the end it's going to come. So when I was looking at Brandon Bevers' Facebook page, and this is all like you can find this in research that's in it everywhere. But I was like, let me see the husband. Let me see what he's going to put on his page, right? And so I looked, and immediately you see some of these things. 5:20 a.m. on April 17th. He makes a post referring to his flights, and he has something about the Texas weather radar. He's going somewhere. At 12 o'clock p.m., he posts something about his flight to Mississippi, heading to Biloxi, Mississippi, and he has his flight information. 7:30 p.m., he arrives in Biloxi,
Why does Facebook need to know every single thing that you're doing?
9:15 p.m.
Oh.
Brandon posts on Facebook the outside of the half-shell oyster house in Biloxi. And then he tags Biloxi, Mississippi. Okay?
Okay.
And says, first stop after 5-hour plane trip.
So, did he do this previously?
So.
Okay.
Last one, 9:30, Missy Bevers and Brandy Bevers allegedly speak on the phone before they go. Missy and Brandon speak on the phone before they go to bed, and they say, I love you. So this was like Brandon's timeline. So in the beginning.
This is all posted on Facebook.
This is all posted. I remember seeing this and thinking, oh, he is making his alibi known. Yeah. Not that he killed him, but I was just like, let me scroll back up and see, and everything else, like he didn't. You have those people that post everything on Facebook, everything that overly do it, like,
and then they don't want to be asked about it whenever you ask them, and I'm like, well, you put it on your Facebook, so ask you why you're in the hospital. It
didn't seem like he did, right?
Yeah, right.
So I was like, why is he all of a sudden posting now? I don't post a whole lot on Facebook, mostly true crime stuff. But when I was in Nashville, I posted a whole lot more and checked into a whole lot more places because they're new places than I ever do. So then now in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, when you're on vacation, you do tend to take more pictures and tag more places because you're kind of excited to be there, right? And you want to share that. So that's like the other side of it.
True.
That's not what I was thinking then. No, I was like,
it wasn't.
Oh, it's always the husband.
Yeah.
And his interviews weren't that great. The other part about Midlothian is they hadn't had a murder
in like 7 years.
7 years. I don't remember what that murder was. But before that, there wasn't anything since 1987.
So we got a real rookie group of.
Listen, popos, if you want to be a police officer, if it was me, I would want to go somewhere to get some good experience.
Don't go to
Midlothian.
If
you really want to help people and learn how to be a cop, and like maybe, I don't know, I wouldn't want to be a cop in Midlothian.
I mean, if you
don't... I'm not helping anything, unless you don't want to actually do shit.
Yeah, unless you don't want to do anything. Maybe, I guess you just want to pull people over with their speed on the highway or going... I don't know. I don't live there.
I don't even want to live in a town that don't have many murders, because if I get murdered, they ain't going to know how to solve it.
Well, obviously not.
Evidence.
Yep.
But this 1987 murder, I think, needs to be a part of our Killer Kids Month, because it was the murder of...
Did you just go from... and then you went deep into this other random murder?
No, not really. Oh. All it was is a murder of an undercover cop, but some Midlothian high school kids did it.
Ooh.
Yes. My former principal actually sent me a text and told me about it. Wow. There's a book about it. So... I'm just going to leave that there, that could be a potential future story. Oh. So there's nothing else really until about
they have
10
like
days.
the cops are coming. I mean, they've called in the ATF. Is that right? They
FBI.
did the FBI. They called in Texas Rangers. Everything you're supposed to do, and they were like looking into phone records.
Yeah.
They were looking into, everything.
They're doing what they could, but they don't know how to do what you're supposed to do because they hadn't had to do it. And so they call in some reinforcements, but I later found out that like they brought in Texas Rangers, but they only allowed the Texas Rangers to answer phone calls, like filter phone calls. So then they only stayed on the ground for like a day or two because that's not the best use of their time.
Well,
Sketch.
if we would have got Matt Coughlin in there, we would have probably got something done.
Yeah.
So then,
Bomb drop.
April 28th. Tell us what happens, April. And I'll get it ready.
A guy named Randy Bevers.
This is Brandon's dad.
Drops a shirt off
At the local vet store.
the local dry cleaners.
Oh, dry cleaner. What did I say, vet store?
Yes, whatever that is.
I don't know what a vet store is.
And the shirt happens to be bloodstained.
Oh, no.
So these dry cleaner workers were DTF.
They were down to find the murder.
So they call the popos and they say, I'm sorry, but Missy Bevers' father-in-law just turned in a shirt with some blood. So that was craziness. Play the video.
Okay, this is what Brandon and Randy have to say regarding it.
Brandon? Yes, sir. And this is my father, Randy. How you doing? Everybody ready? We're good. Hold on just a second. Is there going to be like a lead-in question?
Yeah, we'll ask you questions.
That's coming from you.
Everybody will ask questions.
Okay, that's
all right.
That's
Just do it once,
Brandon
so
talking.
Anybody wants it, they call.
I'll edit it, I guess, to the point where he starts.
As our agreement is.
Okay.
Okay, first of all, what happened? Did you in fact drop off some bloody clothes?
Okay, here's the deal. We come in from out of town.
That's
when
father-in-law.
we got notified of what had happened. Okay, my wife has a small Chihuahua. Okay, she's had for 13 years. It's her baby. Okay, it's just like a child to us. Okay, we've been staying over at a relative's house. Okay, we've been over to his house until late at night. You know, the relatives got 2 dogs. One of them, they got into a fight. The Chihuahua and the big dog got into a fight.
Big dog.
The big dog had the Chihuahua around the throat. Okay, and when I got the big dog off of it, the Chihuahua was laying on the ground bleeding. You know, scooped up the Chihuahua, headed to the animal clinic to see if we could save it. It didn't make it. Okay, so carrying the dog from the house to the veterinary clinic, okay, it was bloody. Okay, so therefore blood on the shirt. Okay, so the next day, you know, we'd take the shirt and our clothes over to the dry cleaners here in town to, you know, get the blood taken off of it or what they can do. And that's the story.
Okay, Brandon, have you talked to police today about the release of this affidavit, just public information? Have they told you anything about this?
As far as I know, it's just a document that's available for public access. And as far as I know, there's no specific description. There's not a story behind the docket. It's just a public document to release the articles of clothing to law enforcement for DNA testing. And that's all I know. And the reason we're here today is because I wasn't really sure that the Midlothian PD was going to elaborate on the story. And I wanted to make sure that we get over here and put this fire out pretty quick.
Because this is the flames going on here, so let's put it out.
This is such a non-issue that we wanted to address it fast.
Well, has there been testing done?
Okay,
Go.
I just feel like they're very defensive right off the bat.
Yeah. And this is really what we're thinking then,
Yes.
right?
What Fix your microphone.
I'm trying.
Oh, she got an issue.
Okay. So at the time, 6 years ago when you saw this, what did you think?
I was like, obviously he killed her.
Because of the bloodstained shirt or because of the interview?
No, I just thought that they just seemed very, like, mad. Like, I don't know. I just felt like I don't know.
Okay.
I don't have a really good reason for why I thought it. I just was like, oh, it's the husband. And obviously they both this is what I thought. I thought they hired a hitman and to do it all. And then the whole dog thing was an accident. Like that was probably legit.
Yeah.
Whatever. The vet confirmed it, whatever. But I thought they still hired a hitman and that they knew all about it. And then that's why they had no emotion and that they just got mad. They just seemed mad or just like they just weren't even sad. They just weren't emotional or anything. They were just pissed off. Like, well, how dare you?
Well, I mean, I would probably feel that way if my wife was killed and I have to come like justify some dog blood.
I mean, can I get a tear?
Yeah,
I'm not married, but
but you don't even cry, so you would be the first one.
Okay, I feel like if I don't have a spouse, but if it was my dog, I would be like, if somebody murdered my dog, I'd be like real upset.
Yeah.
I would feel like if I was married and somebody murdered my husband, I'd probably be pretty upset. Or I'd at least have one tear.
Yeah.
Would you have at least one tear?
I'm sure I would. So this is what my thought was. So
like one.
After this,
could you at least have one? I don't see one anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
After this, of course, Randy Bevers was the target of a lot of couch. What do we call it? Armchair.
Plus
the walk.
Plus what you're not seeing in this video is how he walks, which is exactly like the footage from the video. They have the same exact walk. You cannot get it any better than like either the murderer like knew and like was trying to fake walking like him or something because it's so spot on.
Well, so you did the interview and it's like, oh, okay. And then he turns around and he walks off. And it's like, oh, shit. Right? This is the beginning.
You didn't do yourself any favors.
No, you didn't. You should have said, keep the camera neck up. And then also, what got me, you know me and like you dog people that love dogs more than humans.
Yeah, me.
The first time Randy talks about his daughter's or his daughter-in-law's murder, like he is because he has to be in the news, right? But he refers to this dog like, and it died as like a daughter. We've had it for 13 years. But you didn't say anything like that about Missy at all.
No.
This is what I was thinking in the beginning. So this damn Chihuahua, which I already don't even like Chihuahuas.
Nobody likes Chihuahuas. They're like rats.
So you
Mike, of course, likes Chihuahuas.
You show more emotion about this dang on Chihuahua or more words about this Chihuahua than you did about
your
like
daughter-in-law.
So that's how I was thinking then. And then the walk. But we are enlightened now a little bit after more interviews and more that
he was out of town. His alibi was tight. Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
There's no way he did it. There's no way he did it.
Yeah. So we know Brandon was in Biloxi.
There's no way Brandon did it. There's no way Randy. There's no way either one of them.
And so then people are like, it sure is funny. They're both out of town at the time of the murder. And that's how we think. We're trained to think like that. But what I found out is the father-in-law and the mother-in-law are always out of town. They don't live there. They actually have a home in Georgetown, but they're RVers. And they travel in the RVs. And so they came to visit them, and then they're on their way, I thought, to Colorado to go stay with the stepmama's son. And then they manage an RV park throughout the summer in Colorado at the RV. So they're always out of town. And this dry cleaning people didn't even really know them. They just saw, a Bevers dropped off a bloody shirt.
Yeah.
This is sus. So great job. And in this interview, you can watch, it's very long. And I love when they do these long interviews with potential suspects, because those we can go back and watch. Like the Chris Watts video, so much footage, because people like us watch that human behavior because we think we're in the FBI, but now we have the WIB.
Sure. Yeah.
We don't even need the FBI.
We don't need the FBI. We have WIB. Oh my gosh. What's the Waco Investigation Bureau?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Who wants to be a part of that? Everybody.
So what happens on April 20? Oh, and then Brandon's alibi. This is a yearly annual trip with his job. So it's not just like a
which would have been a great time for him to hire somebody. I'm just saying.
But then even, which you brought this up in the Teresa Severs case, I think of a hired hit as like clean, quick, you don't fuck around, you don't make a mess, because a mess leads to getting caught. It's either like a slit or an execution type style, like you get out and you go. It's like a quickie, right?
Well,
this is real personal. But then Severs, that was real messy. Teresa Severs.
Who said that she was not shot?
Right. But if it was just a gunshot wound, but what about all the extra shit? What's the point in that?
I don't know. I'm only in the WIB.
Yeah.
What do you expect me to know all these extra things?
You're only the president. Tell us about April 24th.
Oh, let me tell you. Oh, April 24th. So Brandon's mother posted a message on Facebook. You want me to read it to you?
Yeah.
It says, "Letter to the murderer of Missy Bevers. Do you even realize what you have done to her daughters, husband, our whole family? Was it really worth it? Why did you think this was so necessary? You know who you are. Your husband/wife and family members know who you are. They know your special walk. Right now, they are as guilty as you are by not coming forward. I honestly pray you do not have children. My granddaughters at least have the knowledge that their mom was a kind-hearted, loving, caring person. You have now ruined your children's life." So they obviously think this person has children. "Along with your family's life by doing this senseless act. We can at least visit Missy's grave, even though we have the comfort of knowing she is already in heaven. Your family will get to visit you in prison forever, reminded of your crazy, selfish act. What a legacy you have doled out to your family. I will be praying for all of them. I truly feel worse for your family than mine. Please come forward. Give yourself peace. Give our family some peace. Give some honor back to your family. God will forgive you. We will forgive you because we know, and you know, that is what Jesus has commanded us to do." Marsha, Tucker.
Good.
So.
Nothing really came of that, but then there was a search warrant. Tell us about what's happening.
Yeah, so there were several people of interest, persons of interest that came up based on communications from her cell phone and like messages and other communications that were like, there were these warrants that came out and there was like targeted numbers. So there were several numbers that were like these target numbers. And it was like Missy's number was on there, Brandon's number was on there, Randy's number. It was basically whoever she communicated with the most.
Uh-huh.
So among these numbers were a few names that we haven't mentioned yet. So there was a person named AJ Tucker. And his wife, Courtney Tucker. And there was also
let's talk about them.
Okay.
Why were they?
So these numbers it's because the numbers were on the phone several times.
Yeah.
So AJ Tucker was another Camp Gladiator trainer.
Yeah.
Local-ish.
Yeah.
And there were some rumors that like maybe Missy was afraid of Courtney.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you know more about the AJ. I don't know. That's all I know about that.
Okay, so
apparently I guess there was a lot of communications between them, and then there was,
and people assumed that there was
an affair. He posted on Facebook that people were coming and digging through his trash and taking out his trash, like digging through his trash.
Uh-huh.
But the deal with them is AJ was also a CG trainer. He had a class at 5 a.m. So he was obviously at his class. They have 4 kids. They are, hopefully somebody was at home with the kids. So if AJ's gone, leading camp, Courtney's at home with her kids while they're sleeping.
Yeah.
So in order for either one of them to do it, they would have to leave all their 4 kids at home alone.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe they hired a secret babysitter. I don't know.
There's not a lot of babysitters that don't come and watch 4 kids. It's a lot.
Well, I don't know either.
Well,
then
I remember.
Oh,
okay. So AJ Tucker, he's black. His wife is white. And so then I remember this blew up in CG land and Facebook land.
This blew up. She's right.
Poor AJ Tucker. This was his first camp. Like, this was his first camp, first cycle.
I did not know that.
So you're really, your first day at camp.
So he's over here banging, but were they having an affair?
No, it never came out. Okay, so what happens when you hire a trainer?
Yes.
In
Listen,
CG world,
all these
you're
CG
texting.
things,
You're texting all the time.
For show.
Well, I'm not even saying that.
Well,
I'm saying that is true.
I know.
There's a lot of shit going on at the CG conferences.
Shady.
But it's also in every profession. So it's shit going on at our teachers' conferences.
Oh, no.
Principals' conferences.
I need to start going to some teachers' conferences.
I'm sure at the neighborly conferences. Like, it's everywhere. But
you're probably right.
So it never came out that AJ and Missy were having an affair. But in the beginning, we had all thought that, right?
Yep.
So then I was like, oh shit. Brandon's mad because Missy went to Blacksville, got a little bit of the Alabama black snake. Randy's pissed. Brandon may know he can never live up to what the Alabama black snake might be.
No, yeah,
so that is a good motive. Right. And then it came out Courtney was pregnant.
But also AJ was a self-defense.
Yes, and had a lot
of tactical gear. So that was what we thought. We were like, oh my gosh, he had access to all this tactical gear. If it was him, and then we're like, oh no, it's the disgruntled wife.
Yes.
Maybe they're having an affair. The wife found out. She gets his tactical gear. They plan this thing. She goes and kills her because they know the plan. They know how it all works. I mean, we had this whole thing. In our head.
We're saying we're all guilty of this, and everybody around the area was doing the same thing. We're just admitting it to it on the air. You look at her Facebook page. She was pregnant at the time of the murder. So pregnant people walk a little funny. Plus, she had a former broken ankle that if you go back on her Facebook page, so you may even walk funny if you're pregnant and you had a broken ankle.
She has that foot sticking out.
So
she's got that one foot out.
Yeah, so she walks a little duck-feeted too.
Yeah.
So we got caught up in it.
Oh yeah.
Police are not worried about AJ and Courtney Tucker at all. No. At least as of right now, they have no evidence to point them to the murder. They had alibis. AJ was running his own camp with his campers at the time Missy was being killed. They did talk, but AJ was a new trainer, and you usually talk to current CG trainers to get tips and tools, and you share Facebook messages and ideas. So there's ongoing communication with multiple trainers. All right, now who's next?
Okay, so there's also this person named Kevin Cozine.
Was he a
I've
CG
never heard of this person. Literally until today. Kevin Cozine and his wife. Kevin was into fitness. He was an MMA expert. He had a daughter that was friends with one of Missy's daughters. And he is the man who Missy was having an affair with.
Yes, and that was validated.
Yes, that was validated. I've never heard that. I was wrong this whole time. So there was a physical affair with him, which Brandon became aware of, and they started to go to therapy. So I don't know if theory, maybe Missy confessed, maybe Brandon found out. I'm not sure what happened. Instead of divorce, they go to therapy. Maybe
this is what's happened. It's not maybe like this.
I don't know how. I don't know if Missy was like, oh, I had an affair, or if Brandon was like, oh, I caught you.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Do you know
and they are going to counseling.
Yes,
they did go to counseling.
They did go to counseling. I just don't know how it came about, like fruition.
And then for some reason, people focus more on Courtney than they did.
So the reason I think is, okay, so they have these people. They have all these names on a list, but people are focused on Courtney. But why are they focused on her?
I feel like didn't even Courtney have like maybe a similar type car back then? I don't know. Maybe she was the easiest one. She was just the one that people knew about. Like, I don't think that Kevin's name was as brought out as much as AJ's were.
I don't know if it was maybe
CG people focused on the CG people, maybe.
It had to have been, because I literally have not, after all these years, I've never heard that name. They were cleared just because they did phone records. They looked at phone records and they cleared them based on that, I think. And then April 26th of that same year, they had a warrant filed for LinkedIn. So one of Missy's friends so Missy got a message on from somebody on LinkedIn. She told one of her friends. It was this really weird message from this guy who she didn't know. Apparently it was this like creepy and strange message. She couldn't remember the name of the person. But then another person of interest came up called Casey Williams.
Because they communicated on LinkedIn.
Because he and Missy communicated on LinkedIn from January through the time of her death of that year. And apparently these messages were intimate, they were flirty, and they had been deleted. And apparently she was in contact with several people on LinkedIn. Now, April, why would we CG trainers have been in contact with people on LinkedIn?
Recruiting.
Because we're recruiting
other trainers.
That's one of the avenues we use to recruit new trainers. We would post ads on LinkedIn, so we would have conversations. And that would be a normal thing. So when we heard there was people talking on LinkedIn, we're like, okay, well, yeah, it's probably like a prospect. But I don't think any of us got very far to like have intimate, like how...
Especially on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Like, let's take it to somewhere else.
Well, but I think that's the sneaky part behind it.
Oh, you're right.
Because
But let me tell you. I want to know how all these deleted stuff gets back to them.
It's all in the cloud.
Well, what the F the cloud.
And so they always say there's no such thing as deleting anything. It can come up.
How do you get it out of the cloud? Because Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, they're on this court, and they're bringing up text messages from 14.
It doesn't go away.
Can you tell me? I have no clue any text messages I sent back then. Okay.
I don't know either. But that brings up a little sketch, because if I'm Missy and I just got in trouble for having an affair, and Brandon's probably going to want to search my phone here and there, right?
Right.
So that's why you're deleting messages. But the last place you're going to look at your phone for weird,
Yeah.
inappropriate messages is LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You're going to go to, with Snap in back then, you're going to go to Instagram, you're going to
Yeah.
go to messages, you're going to go to those other platforms.
Mhm.
LinkedIn just would not be the one to
Mm-mm.
get in somebody's DMs.
No.
So Casey Williams was also ruled out.
Okay. Yep. Because he cooperated and they just cleared him.
Yeah.
They cleared everybody. Everybody's cleared.
Yeah.
The end. Bye.
Well, then there was the one other guy named Bobby. I'm not going to say his
Oh.
whole thing.
Oh.
Because I can't even remember. Bobby Gentry?
Wayne
Bobby
Henry.
Wayne Henry.
Henry.
And he was a former cop.
Yes.
And he had a criminal history of, I
can't
think, sexual assault. Bobby Wayne Henry.
I don't.
Aggravated sexual assault or some type of sexual assault. And he actually worked the Missy Bevers funeral. People noticed his gait, his walk, and his somatotype at the funeral, and his name came up. But for whatever reason, either he had an airtight alibi or there was just not enough evidence to...
And apparently he likes to
Don't
sue
arrest.
everybody who talks about him.
Yeah.
So we're not talking about it.
Yeah.
I don't think
So that's where it
cares.
is. We're just reporting the things that are just already out there and not making up our own shit. Those are all the people whose names came up, went away. There's a lot of theories out there.
Oh, I actually needed to bring one thing up that I forgot. Whenever this person came into the building,
Okay.
on surveillance, okay, it's pouring rain outside. Somebody dying out there? It's pouring rain. Whenever this person walks in, there's no wet foot marks.
No puddles, no anything.
No.
You think the uniform was in the church?
I don't
I
know.
always wondered, was this somebody that knew the church, went to the church, a member of the church or something? Or maybe they had already been there so long where they had dried off.
Well, I don't know, because I was like, how are you can't just walk in from outside and you're not going to leave like slosh, like little foot marks. Like there's no drips. Like their uniform is not wet at all.
Yeah. That we could see. But the video's also very grainy.
Yeah, but like from the footage of the SWFA, it's pouring rain.
Yeah.
So you would think you could at least see drop. Like there's nothing dripping.
No. I don't know that I would be able to look at somebody wearing all black and know that it was wet anyways.
I think I could.
Here's what I want to
For sure I
bring
could.
up.
I'm a rain expert, by the way.
Okay.
You didn't know that?
I wanted to bring
I'm
up
a meteorologist.
that it was known, like in CG land, that Missy carried a gun, mace, and a taser.
Shit.
This
why
person...
did she have all that stuff? Why was she so worried? I didn't have anything. Never.
Most CG trainers did. From when I found out, I was never going to carry a gun. I was on a school property. That's like something felony. But this person had to have known too. They got on this bulletproof vest. They got on this mask in case she maced. They got on all this insulation in case they tased.
I'm telling you,
They knew this person, like it is.
From day one, I'm like, there's something somebody's hiding. Somebody knows something. Somebody's hiding something. I think there's more to the story listen, we're just down the road from this place. Like we're an hour and a half away from Midlothian.
What does that mean?
I still think the husband has something to do with it.
Oh. Still, you're entitled to your...
We'll be recording in another studio. What? Hold it up. Pull it up. We'll be recording in the other studio. Let me know when you're done.
10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Oh.
So I'm totally throwing out robbery gone wrong.
Like
what?
That's what.
Throwing out.
Oh, you're canceling that.
Canceled.
Yeah, you're canceling
Cancel.
it.
Like,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no way.
No.
The robber would have to come and
Like, there's
confess.
definitely not. It's definitely not. They ain't robbing anything. No.
I don't think I don't know if Brandon would have paid anybody. I wonder, could he have known more than what he says, and that's why he felt like he needed to post all the alibi stuff on there. But True Crime Broads puts out a very detailed, like, they have multiple episodes they focus on the Missy Bevers case. And they do not think at all, I don't know if it's because they were close with the family, that it was Brandon or Randy or any of them. They're not an inkling. They don't have that at all. I do think that it could have been, if Brandon was having an affairs, they said there were multiple affairs. So I don't know if that means Brandon was having one. I think it could have been a psycho side piece or a disgruntled wife of maybe somebody Missy was entertaining. Robbery gone wrong? No. Like, nothing about that says robbery.
No. Mm-mm. Nope.
So I say go on and look at all the videos and study.
Yeah, let us know what you think, because my theory changes.
And there's one thing that we left out, and I don't even know if
Could you try again?
Oh, excuse me, Siri. Bye. Siri, I'm recording a podcast. I need you to stop. She's so rude.
What about the 2 cars that were possibly seen in the...
Okay. There was like a dark car that was
A dark
also
SUV
seen?
that was seen. Excuse me, sorry. A dark SUV that was seen leaving, but there's not much information on that.
No, I didn't get much on that.
And then supposedly there was a silver-ish sedan.
Well, that's the Nissan one.
Yes.
That's the one that was at that SWFA parking lot.
But that was also seen in the back of the church.
And also, what you guys skipped over, because they tried to get the owner of this sedan to come forward, and they never would come forward.
Yes, that's why I think a lot of people don't think it's even related.
Well, if you're not related, you would be like, oh, hey, that was me.
That's me.
I was
meth.
flashing my lights, and I was on meth at the time.
Yeah, sorry.
And I fell asleep while I was driving, and then I needed to get up
Or
in 3
I was
seconds,
like
and
hanging.
I needed Doritos.
I was screwing in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And we accidentally hit the lights a couple
we hit
times.
the brakes 'cause
Sorry.
she was giving me a BJ. Like, come on.
That's why I think it's fishy, because nobody, and it's not like this was just Midlothian and like Waco News. This was Nancy Grace. This was Barbara.
Listen.
Wait, was it Barbara? Katie?
Nancy Grace.
Dateline? Like,
My
it was
favorite.
all over.
We got somebody we know.
So just to wrap it up, Brandon Bevers has now since remarried.
What?
Yes.
Listen,
You
how's
haven't even
somebody else gonna get remarried with 4 kids, and I can't even get remarried with no kids? I'm pissed. I'm leaving.
He has since remarried, and sometimes they go and they spend the holidays at Missy Bevers' mom's house.
Well, that's nice of them.
Daughter Hannah, I believe it's Hannah,
She's
is
probably married,
21, and she's in college in Oklahoma, graduating in May. She wants to be a counselor because she suffered from a lot of fear and anxiety post
I
death.
bet she did.
She
That's
said that she would like randomly create scenarios that she's going to get killed, or that somebody's coming after the rest of the family. Allie, the middle daughter, is 19, and she goes college at Tarleton State. And then Sarah's in 14, and I guess that's a high schooler.
Yeah.
Randy Bevers and his wife are still traveling the country in their RV, running RV sites, living their
Best life.
Yeah, retired life.
Wow.
There's a story of Missy Bevers. You guys have been waiting for it. I hope we did it justice.
I hope we did it. I feel like we did. We even dressed up.
We wore CG stuff just for this. Can we tell them what next month is going to look like?
Oh my gosh. Okay, listen. Okay. It's going to be Killer Mamas.
Killer Mommies.
And
Why?
if
Why
you
is it going to be
have-
Killer Mommies?
Because guess what next month is? It's Mother's Day. So why would
Dia
we
de
not?
Madre.
Why would we not? We might even bring our moms to
Yes.
be part of the episodes with us. Or if you're a mom, maybe you'll be a part of it. I don't know. I don't know.
If you're a killer mom, we really will have you on.
Oh, let's call Andrea Yates. Let's call, wait, did she get-
Susan Smith.
Let's call Diane Down.
We don't know who we're going to talk about yet. We have it penciled in, but we're not sure. So look forward to some Killer Mommies next week. Munchausen by proxy is one of my favorite craziness sicknesses.
You need to do that one with that lady who brought her kid to Disney World.
So when you watch this episode or listen to this episode, I need you to send it to 5 friends or your hairstylist or your massage therapist or your side piece
Or your Botox person.
person. Get the episodes out. And I think that's all we have.
Oh my gosh.
That's it. I mean, it's only a 2-hour episode.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all, don't forget to
Stay aware.
stay alive.
And always be DTF.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, bitches. Peace out.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.
Join the ultimate celebration of digital content with its creators, passionate fans, and industry experts. It's all happening in downtown Waco across multiple venues on January 20th through the 22nd, 2023. Tickets are on sale now at roguecon23.com.
Hi, I'm Hank. You might remember me from a show called King of the Hill. Check out a King of the Hill rewatch podcast. These boys ain't rap, but they are funny. Find the podcast anywhere you get your podcasts or at roguemedianetwork.com. I tell you what.